Hello and welcome. I'm Phil Torres, here to talk about innovations that can change lives. We're going to explore the intersection of hardware and humanity, and we're doing it in a unique way. This is a show about science by scientists. Let's check out our team of hardcore nerds. Kyle Hill is an engineer. He's on the trail of a mysterious killer that's decimating America's bee population. Can these scientists find a way to stop it? Crystal Dilworth is a molecular neuroscientist. She shows us California's high-tech grapes, how science can achieve perfection in a glass. And I'm Phil Torres, I'm an entomologist. I'll show you the possible new species of spider I ran into in the rainforest of Peru. Plus, we're using cologne to study jaguars, all in the name of science. That's our team, now let's do some science. Hey guys, welcome to another fun week of science in the field. Kyle, we're going to start with you. What is happening to the bees and how can we save them?
So bee populations are diminishing all around the country, and I wanted to find out why. As you can see here, I was traveling to Whidbey Island and even to the heartland of America to find innovative ways and technology to help save these bees. Late summer in Barrett, Minnesota is usually buzzing with activity.
Okay. Well, I think we're ready to walk down to the bee yard, Kyle.
The Midwest is known for its commercial bee industry.
So we've got empty boxes. Those didn't get filled with honey. Big stacks of empties that never got anything in them.
But over the last few years, beekeepers are witnessing a seriously alarming problem. How many bees are we losing?
The losses are really astronomical. Last winter, I lost 65% of my operation. First thing we do is we walk around, we look in the ground to see if there's any dead bees in the ground.
I think most people in the U.S. would be happy enough staying far away from the honeybee. But the truth of the matter is, they're critically important for the U.S. food supply. They provide over $15 billion in revenue for the agriculture business, and a full 1/3 of the U.S. food supply relies on these industrious little pollinators.
The demand for insect-pollinated crops, the nuts, the fruits, the vegetables, is very much increasing, and the supply of bees is very much decreasing.
The general term is colony collapse disorder, a phenomenon seen before, but beekeepers say this time it's different.
In the bee industry, seeing a whole number of things that we've really never seen before. Bees just disappearing.
Not only disappearing, they're also dying in large numbers. Even something like this, like I just picked up, what happened to this bee? Why can't it stand? Why is its mouth out? What's going on here?
Well, if the proboscis is extended out as it is on this particular bee, that's an indication that they're trying to remove something poisonous from their stomach, and it is a symptom that is typically seen on a chemically poisoned bee.
Scientists haven't reached consensus on what's causing the disappearing and dying bees, but the mysterious disorder has everyone anxious. We headed north of Seattle, Washington, into the remote Puget Sound, where cutting-edge research is underway to help save the bees. Here on the north end of Whidbey Island in Washington State, scientists are looking for a new, innovative way to combat colony collapse disorder. They're doing that by building a better, healthier bee with artificial insemination. So this is where it all happens.
Yes, I'm going to show you my insemination lab. With instrumental insemination, I can do things that don't happen in nature. I can take hundreds of drones and mix them up and inseminate that queen. I'm trying to enhance what Mother Nature does.
First, we need a male drone, and then what else do we need?
You need lots of males. Takes a lot of drones to inseminate one queen.
Kobe and a team of researchers at Washington State University is working at the forefront of technology to genetically diversify bee populations. So across the U.S. and across the world, bees are dying in mass numbers. What can you tell us about that?
I think it's multifactorial. There's lots of different aspects to it. You have to look at the environment, exposure to pesticides, malnutrition due to lack of forage for the bees, pests, parasites, pathogens.
From her organic farm, Kobe gathers male sperm from strong, diverse drones that can survive harsh hive conditions. She will then inseminate selected queens that also show resistance to pests and disease.
The more drones you mate with, the more diversity and the better fitness you have.
So now you actually have to grab one of the drones here.
I'm gonna grab him by the thorax.
The entire process is quick, but it does take a lot of squeezing to get enough sperm for insemination.
I'm just gonna roll my fingers forward.
So that's the semen actually coming out.
That's the semen. You can see the kind of creamy.
The queen is anesthetized and placed in a small tube, readying her for insemination. And how much do you need to put in the queen?
I'll give her 1 turn, which is 10 microliters. Basically 10 drones worth. The goal now is to have, I want gentle, productive bees, but now I also want bees that are resistant to all these pests and problems we have, which is a tall order. I will spend probably the rest of my life trying to do that.
Kobe's not alone. An 8-hour drive away in Pullman, Washington, members of her team are also breeding the semen of drones. What are all these boxes?
Yeah, these are voucher specimens for a lot of the collections we've made. So, for example, this is Egypt, collected in 1998, and bees from Australia.
For years, they've been gathering diverse stocks of bee sperm from places like Italy, Turkey, and the Caucasus Mountains, all used for building genetic diversity.
Yeah, this is our isolated mating station here at Smoot Hill, and we use it to control the mating of the bees here. So we can put colonies here that have the particular males that we want for the mating. We have virgin queens here that have been produced from crosses that we made using the frozen semen.
A remarkable aspect of this cutting-edge work depends on cryogenically storing the semen.
Before we developed this technique, it basically didn't work, and nobody in the world was able to freeze honeybee semen.
This is the world's first bee sperm bank. The critical technique involves properly freezing the sperm for future use.
It's a very extreme environment for these cells to be put through, and if it's not done just right, it's going to be useless.
After it's gathered into thin storing tubes, the secret lies in lowering the sperm temperature very slowly. These scientists in Washington are hoping to eventually change the health of bee colonies in the U.S.
Put it in this one. Yeah, just jam it right in there. Yep. Oh, it tastes like heaven.
But it's unknown whether it will be soon enough to help beekeepers like Steve Ellis.
We have reached the disaster point from a beekeeping industry standpoint, and it just needs to be understood by the people of the country that we have a Deepwater Horizon occurring with pollinators, and we need to deal with it.
When you talk about scientists trying to influence evolution, how effective can we really be?
You can just look all around you and you see how effective we can be when we artificially select something. We've done that with dogs. So what we're trying to do is looking at the traits that make successful bees successful and trying to select those and bring them into our very muddled population in America.
So worst case scenario, all the bees disappear, then what are we left with?
Maybe tiny little robotic drones.
I do love the robotic bee idea, and I know there are some researchers at Harvard who are working on this, but humans are kind of messing with the environment in a lot of different ways. So if we need to, let's get some robots out there that...
Science is always like that. It is never that simple. You always have to attack scientific topics from multiple fronts.
Speaking of insects, you've been doing some really fun stuff in the Amazon. What are we going to see?
I have way too much fun down there, and the reason why is because there are so many things left to be discovered. So what I'm about to show you guys are two things that I've been working on, one with jaguars and one with a really clever little spider. So let's check it out. It is breathtaking and, at the same time, mysterious. The Amazon jungle covers an area of over 2.7 million square miles and stretches across the borders of 9 nations. This green wonderland has more than 1 million insect species, tens of thousands of different plants, birds, and fish. I've been exploring the Amazon for the past few years. My specialty is butterflies, but on this trip, I'm looking for this magnificent cat.
The jaguar is an indicator species because it's a very wide-ranging animal. It needs a lot of habitat, and it prefers areas with lush and dense cover.
The jaguar is considered endangered, There are now only around 15,000 jaguars left in the wild. Miguel Ordeñana is a wildlife biologist who conducts jaguar field research with an organization called Paso Pacifico.
We want to know how big of an impact is fragmentation and unsustainable agriculture having on this species that's very sensitive to human disturbance.
What is the best way to tell if a jaguar is in an area?
One method that we use are camera traps, and they're these remotely triggered cameras that are activated by motion. But once they're triggered, they'll take a picture instantly, and even 3 if they're programmed to do so. Good pictures of a jaguar will allow you to look at its markings, and each marking is like a fingerprint. If you get a good shot of a certain section of its pelt, you can get an idea of what areas he's using.
But how do you get an animal that is known for its elusiveness to approach a box of human technology deep in the jungle?
So we're heading up to the Tambo Research Center deep in the Peruvian Amazon, and we really want to get a picture of a jaguar. Now to do that, we brought along a very special ingredient. You see, researchers at the Bronx Zoo several years ago tested a bunch of different scents to see what attracted the jaguars at the zoo. And what they found was this.
What is it about cologne that could cause a jaguar to react this way?
Cologne basically elicits this response from a jaguar that makes it feel like another jaguar has been there, left its scent.
We're going to take it out of the context of a zoo, put it into the wild, and see if we can actually attract wild jaguars to our cameras using this scent. And then we'll actually show you how that can be used for conservation research. So, it smells pretty good. I can see why the jaguars would like it. Let's see if it works.
And with camera and cologne in hand, I set off into the jungle to build a perfume-enhanced camera trap. The process is simple. Cut some small steaks, tie your rags to them, and douse them with cologne.
So this is a camera trap. Any animal that walks by is going to trigger this camera to either take a picture or take video. Also, it's got this here, which is an infrared light. Day or night, if something passes by this, we're going to get some video of it. Let's see what we get.
So it seems to me cologne is almost like a low-tech solution to this high-tech problem.
Yes, definitely. These are very elusive animals, and so any help you can get, even from a low-tech tool like cologne or any sort of extract that elicits some sort of response that allows you to get a better picture, that allows you to get a fur sample, or give us some behavioral information if we have that camera trap set to video.
I had my experiment running out there for over a month, and it didn't work. The truth is, working with animals like jaguars isn't an exact science as much as I would hope it would be. But scientists at GVI were able to pull this off. Here's the night vision video. Jaguars rubbing, scratching, marking each scent station like household cats would, leaving behind critical pieces of skin and fur that will be subjected to DNA analysis in the lab.
My question to you is, why is using these commercially produced perfumes the optimal approach?
I bet you it's a cost issue. For me, honestly, when I did this, I was at the duty-free in the airport in Lima, and I was just like, oh, I'll just pick it up. So now what I want to show you guys is this spider that I was telling you guys about. Now, this is the actual moment of discovery we happen to be filming. This is what happened. One of my favorite things to do in the Amazon is to hike at night.
So what happened? I don't know. It's like they've evaporated.
You really never know what you're gonna find. And this particular night, we were out walking, and a friend of mine named Gordon calls to me and he says,
"What's bumping that?"
"Hey, Phil, is this a dead spider on this web?" So I went, checked it out, and then all of a sudden this thing that looked like a dead spider actually started moving back and forth. That actually may have made a fake spider out of debris.
No.
Not even kidding. Coming closer, we realized that there was a small spider that had made this big fake spider in the web.
It's a tiny spider disguised as a big spider.
Shut up.
The real spider is very small. It's got a really long abdomen, short little legs, so it's not even that it's making a bigger version of itself, it's making a big version of a spider that's nearby.
And he's vibrating the whole web to make it look like he is a big spider.
It was so cool. It's something that we had no idea existed, and apparently the world had no idea existed. So we were just thrilled. We were stoked.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Correct number of legs on the fake.
This spider isn't just different from other spiders. It's different from any other animal because there's no other animal besides humans that can make a bigger version of itself.
So that wasn't actually a spider in the web, that was something else.
Yeah, it just blew my mind. I mean, 8 legs, you guys. Spiders have 8 legs.
And you don't even think about spiders as an organism really being able to think about making a decoy.
Yeah,
But that's what he's done.
But that's what I love about it. You know, people would always say, oh, how does the spider know what it looks like?
Yeah.
And it's not like the spider's taking a step back, looking up there and being like, I'm missing some legs over there. It just shows how interesting evolution can be and how far it can push these behaviors. And to us, it looks like this intelligent behavior, but really it's just a very good set of rules that these spiders can follow to make this really intricate form.
Well, while you were trampling through the jungles of the Amazon, I was in Napa Valley looking at how technology is innovating winemaking. So, as you can see, they've been making wine since 7000 BC, but now they're applying new techniques to that process. We have solar panels that provide green energy and a bunch of really cool innovations. Take a look.
Here on this hillside in Napa, these pickers are harvesting grapes the same way it's been done for thousands of years, by hand. But at this vineyard, 21st century technology also has a hand in almost every step of the process, from vine to wine.
I'm an innovator when it comes to making the best wine possible, whatever it takes.
Doug Schaefer is the president of Schaefer Vineyards. He's been working here since 1973, when his father bought the estate.
Grape growing and winemaking in this valley has changed tremendously in the last 40 years. Experience, innovation, technology, computerization, able to get more information, better information that we can make better decisions with.
For the last 29 years, his partner in making those decisions has been Elias Fernandez, the vineyard's winemaker. He gave me a tour of the vineyard's high-tech tools that are fine-tuning his craft.
This is our weather station. This is our own weatherman here on the hillsides.
This weather station is one of 2 new wireless systems that gather detailed data in the field and transmit it via Wi-Fi to a computer or a cell phone.
What type of analysis do those computers do?
What it does is actually gives us, it graphs the temperatures throughout the day, the wind speeds throughout the day, the humidity throughout the day, and allows us just to have a feel for what's going out here to these poor vines.
The second system, called Fruition, gives Elias a real-time view of what's happening inside the vine.
What we have here is a thermocoupler right in this area here, and with the solar producing energy, it'll heat up the plant.
As water moves through the plant, the thermocoupler measures the change in heat, telling the grower how much water is in the vine.
And it tells us if the vine's in a deficit of water or if it's doing fine. With this, we can actually save water, which is an important thing.
Especially in California, which seems like it's been in drought ever since I can remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
By eliminating water at the right times and by giving water at the right times, we can actually have those berries grow small. The smaller the berry, the bigger the skin to juice ratio is. That means more robust, big, juicy wines.
Innovative technology also fine-tunes the work of the crush pad. Here, Elias programs his optical sorter to choose grapes based on a specific shape and color. Only the right ones make it into the fermenters. Everything else gets dumped here.
We noticed a change almost overnight. The wine's right in the fermenter, only 5 or 6 days old. The aromas were fresher, cleaner, more focused. It was phenomenal.
So we're gonna go check out a red wine fermentation.
So these are the Cabernet grapes that were being sorted earlier?
Yes, it looks like soup.
These fermentation tanks also communicate with Elias via Wi-Fi.
For example, if a fermentation temperature gets too hot, then it will send me an alarm where
So you actually get a phone call from your fermentation tank.
Yeah, I get a text,
hey,
I get a phone call, a text, an email. I get all three of them. And
Wow.
believe me, I've had them at 2 in the morning sometimes.
Even the aging process, done in oak barrels as it has been for the last 2 millennia, is protected by space-age technology.
So this was invented by NASA as part of their space station. So what it does, it actually purifies the air using photocatalytic oxidation technology.
So it's photocatalytic, so it's using light
Yes,
to
exactly. It's using this.
explode anything that would be alive in the air.
Basically, it will destroy any mold, yeast, anything that can do damage to barrels and caves and so forth.
Some of the most innovative technology is being used not just to make wine, but to study wine at the Mondavi Research Institute at UC Davis. It's home to the world's first wireless fermentation system.
Rather than trying to make great wines, we're trying to do great experiments.
Professor Roger Bolton has been teaching the science of winemaking for more than 30 years.
So the fermentation process is taking the mixture that's high in sugar content and turning it into ethanol, right? That's what happens in this process. And so how does this represent an advance in the technology that was available before the system was developed?
But virtually no commercial fermenters are running density as well as temperatures in wine fermentation.
So commercial wineries are not able to measure in real time the sugar?
Typically, no.
Wow. So we've seen some other technological advances that are helping winemaking when we did a visit at Schaefer Vineyards. What can you tell me about the impact that these technologies are going to have on winemaking?
I think all of those things are aimed at providing more information, which then leads to either better interpretation, which then leads to better decision-making.
So this is our current release, 2009 Hillside Select.
I used to think of the quality of the wine that's produced had to do with the instinct of the winemaker that was in charge, because it seems like these new technologies is taking a little bit away from that instinct and putting it a lot in the hands of data analysis.
I've been on this property for over 29 years now, and so I used a lot of that instinct. So I use the technology to back up what I feel. It just adds to the whole picture so that I can make better wine.
Amazing. So that whole piece just really begs the question about art versus technology.
I really think what Schaefer Vineyards is trying to do is bring new ideas, new technology, and really focus in on scientifically what we as humans react to.
All this talk of wine, I kind of want a glass of wine now.
Me too.
I don't know about you
I'll
guys,
meet you there.
All right.
Let's go.
TechKnow's world never stops. Dive deep into these stories and go behind the scenes at aljazeera.com/AJTechKnow. Follow our expert contributors on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and more.